The first guilty plea entered in a high-profile corruption scandal in Trinidad and Tobago. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, June 6th from the CMC News Center in Bridgetown. I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. One of the men charged in an alleged corruption conspiracy involving ex-Attorney General Anand Ramlogan and former opposition legislator Gerald Ramdean has officially turned state witness. Queen's Counsel Vincent Nelson on Thursday pleaded guilty to conspiring to commit money laundering, misbehavior in public office, and conspiracy to commit an act of corruption after a High Court judge agreed to accept a plea agreement that he'd reached with prosecutors. On Tuesday, High Court Judge Malcolm Haldip heard arguments from Nelson's attorneys and the Director of Public Prosecutions, Roger Gaspard, on whether to accept the deal for the Jamaican-born lawyer to get a lesser sentence in exchange for being the state's key witness in the case against Ramlogan and Ramdean. And on Thursday, the judge accepted Nelson's plea deal. Nelson will be sentenced on January 16th next year on the 3 charges which are related to the alleged kickback of millions of dollars in legal fees to Ramlogan and Ramdean as a gift for receiving state briefs. Ramdean, who resigned as United National Congress UNC Senator after being charged in the scandal, and Ramlogan, who served as AG under the former People's Partnership Administration, are jointly accused of conspiracy to contravene the Prevention of Corruption Act, conspiracy to engage in money laundering, and conspiracy to misbehave in public office. They're out on bail and are due to return to court for a case management hearing on June 28th. Staying in Trinidad and Tobago, opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Besesser has had her name cleared in a long-running probe into the discovery of marijuana at her private residence in 2013 when she was Prime Minister. Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith said on Thursday she was not culpable of any wrongdoing. At a press conference, he said the drugs were found in a place that many people frequented. In fact, he said that at any point in time, there could have been up to 70 people who would have had full access to the yard, including gardeners, drivers, soldiers, and police officers. As such, he said the weed could not be attributed to Prasad-Besesser.
She's in no way culpable. She's not in any way accused of any wrongdoing, and she's clear of any matter pertaining to this investigation. The investigation, however, is still ongoing, as there are other matters that still have to be dealt with pertaining to that incident. But as it pertains to the opposition leader, she is in no way responsible for what was found in her premises, in her yard at that time, which was marijuana.
Well, Prasad-Besesser says she's happy with the outcome of the investigation, and she commended the commissioner for clearing the air. But she also expressed hope that similar resources will be deployed for other investigations into open cases so that they too can be concluded. Meantime, Commissioner Griffith says he's drafting a plan to restructure the police service, and it should be completed by the end of the year. The new system will include an app to help citizens report criminals anonymously.
Be an app that is provided similar to the London Met Police. The London Met Police, there's a lot of online reporting. Online reporting, there's a degree of confidentiality. We do not want to know who you are. If you want to be provided with a reward, fair enough. But the greatest asset we have is human intelligence. The majority of the 1.3 million citizens in this country, most are law-abiding, and they want to deal with the 3,000 punks, these elements in society who continue to affect us and take away our fundamental rights. So you are correct, and very soon I will be providing you with the avenue for citizens to give that information.
The top cop made the announcement as he acknowledged that some people are hesitant to come forward with information because they do not trust police.
I can put my hand on a block that each and every police officer can be trusted. You wouldn't do the same thing with politicians. You wouldn't do the same thing. So you can't, because remember, the police service comes from society. Our society is not perfect. So, but I can assure you that what we are doing is putting systems to ensure a degree of accountability and consequences for any police officer involved in criminal activity. Having said that, if it is that you are fully aware of persons who are involved in illegal activity, rather than go directly to a station to report it, I am asking the public, do not do that. If it is that you're aware of a very serious nature and you are concerned, I continue to state you can WhatsApp me directly, so it cannot be traced. If you see something, say something.
In other news, police investigations are underway in Turin, Italy, after the bodies of two Bahamian men were pulled from a river. The body of 28-year-old Blair Rashad Randy John was retrieved from the Po River on a Wednesday, a day after his 29-year-old friend, Bahamian diplomat Alray Ramsey, was found in the same river. John, a student at St. Mary's University in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, had traveled to Turin to present an academic paper at a psychology conference. Ramsey, who had been on study leave in Austria from his job at the Bahamas Embassy in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, went to the Italian city to meet up with his friend. The relatives of the deceased are seeking answers, particularly with reports in the Italian media that Ramsey had a head injury consistent with a fall. We get more in this ZNS Network News report.
I need answers as to when they learned about this incident, where the bodies were recovered, how they were recovered, the injuries, because what I'm hearing in social media, I don't follow. So I need to speak and look in the authorities' eyes, because I need to say something positive to my family and to my sister, who was much devastated.
ZNS News understands that Ramsey was to meet up with his school friend, 28-year-old Blair John, both graduates of St. Augustine's College.
Being schoolmates and colleagues, they decided they would connect. Okay, they connected, and they both disappeared.
Obviously, that was a cause for alarm.
Alray called home every weekend. That didn't happen this weekend. So this raised a red flag, knowing that these two promising, decent, educated Bahamians would disappear.
Meantime, in a statement issued on Wednesday, the Bahamas Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it was saddened by Ramsey's death. Minister Darren Henfield also said the authorities continue to remain in close contact with John's family, and he urged the public to show compassion and understanding by not jumping to conclusions and spreading speculation. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has called on global governments to support the election of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to the United Nations Security Council in Friday's vote. Brown declared that small states deserve a seat at the highest decision-making council of the international community, particularly as increasingly global issues impact their welfare and their very existence. He argued that the small size of countries is no obstacle to their valuable contribution to resolving conflicts and advancing economic growth and development. It has been a while since a small Caribbean state has sat on the Security Council, and Prime Minister Brown says St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a worthy representative. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, concerned that some regional countries are not up to scratch as far as compliance with anti-money laundering standards is concerned. That story and more after the break.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Welcome back. One anti-money laundering organization says Caribbean countries face the challenge of proving the effectiveness of their anti-money laundering rules as they seek to become compliant with international standards. Executive Director of the Association of Anti-Money Laundering Societies, Rick McDonnell, told CMC News that about half the countries in the region are not compliant with standards set by the Financial Action Task Force.
The other side of the assessment process, though, is how well is the system being achieving its goals of deterring financial crime, deterring money laundering, or proactively prosecuting people. It's on that level that the compliance levels are not high, and they're not high for a couple of reasons. One, they're new standards relatively, so it takes a long time to prove that your system is effective. You might have the right laws, you might have good supervisory capabilities, if you do, but are they actually showing results? So that might take years and years to achieve. And in the Caribbean region as a whole, as a generalization, there's so far insufficient proof in a number of countries that the systems for anti-money laundering are proving effective in terms of results.
But McDonnell is confident that Caribbean countries will eventually become compliant.
One-off things. There are follow-up mechanisms on a regular basis, so if you've done poorly as a country in relation to some or all of the standards, then you must report back on a regular basis to CFATF in terms of the Caribbean. The other thing that gives me room for some confidence is that the governments in the region are treating it very seriously. There's commitment to ensure full compliance in due time. And I think I can say that in relation to all of the countries in the region that I've spoken to, officials from almost all the countries in the Caribbean region. The level of commitment and the allocation of prioritized work to be done is a serious one. So that's
The OECS Commission has signed an agreement with Facebook that will allow access to the social media site's disaster maps in an effort to improve emergency response for member states. The mapping resources provide information about where populations are located, how they're moving, and where they're checking in safe during a natural disaster. At a signing ceremony for the partnership, Director General of the OECS Commission, Dr. Didicus Jules, says access to Facebook's disaster maps will allow the Commission to monitor the almost real-time movement of people and therefore be better positioned to provide assistance.
The agreement that we have signed with Facebook gives us a working partnership with them that would help us in terms of tremendously boosting our social media outreach. It would also give us access to some of the analytics and data that are available through their platform. For example, with Signature today, we immediately have access to disaster maps for the OECS member states. This is going to be shared with the national disaster agencies and all of the OECS member states, and will be an invaluable tool in any disaster response that needs to take place in the event of a hurricane.
Claudia Giraldo, Facebook's public policy manager for the Caribbean, says the company is aware of the challenges that many Caribbean nations face during disasters, and they're pleased to be able to support the OECS Commission.
We have discussed with the OECS, and Facebook has been looking closely at all the efforts that the OECS is doing in terms of disaster relief on preparedness. And we thought it would be great if they gain access to the disaster maps tool. The OECS has signed our licensing agreement, which enables them to have visibility on this tool to be able to better address disasters in the region. Hopefully, this will be very useful ahead of the 2019 hurricane season.
Jamaica's Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw is assuring those involved in the sugar industry that the government has not abandoned them. His ministry has come under heavy criticism, but Shaw says work is being done to assist the sector. We get more in this TVJ News report.
The sugar industry has taken a beating, and when the Monimus sugar factory closed in 2018, there was outrage. Few months ago, sugar farmers from the Golden Grove plant in St. Thomas demanded answers from the leadership of the factory and the government about the future of the plant. To date, nothing. Opposition spokesman on agriculture Fenton Ferguson has blasted the government and its lack of interest in the sugar industry. However, speaking at the 67th launch of the Denby Agriculture Show, Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw made this assertion.
We're not abandoning sugar. We are right-sizing it and rationalizing it. Despite the closure of the Monimus factory, I am to indicate to you that the crop has been successfully reaped and is continuing to be reaped in Monimus and trucked toward the park and to Appleton estates. We have not had any complaints from the farmers. And we have taken care of the workers as well. We have paid them, although they haven't worked in the factory.
Those words, but for the farmers who've complained about their livelihoods being affected, that may bring little to no comfort. Mr. Shaw did not stop there.
Start.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies go down to Australia in their second match of the ICC World Cup. The details when we return.
You are watching Caribbean Vibrations TV, and we are here in the Amara region of Ethiopia, and we're about to go check out one of the natural wonders of Ethiopia, Lake Tana. All right, so Tilla, where are we right now, and what's the significance of this building?
Okay, now we are on Lake Island. After 2.5 hours by boat from Bahadar, we arrived here already. So this is one of the biggest island on the lake, which is, there is a monastery, it's called Narga Selassie, which is built by Queen Minsuwa.
Sticking with Sumfest, Jamaican dancehall stalwarts Beenie Man and Bounty Killer will perform on stage together at this year's event in what is gearing up to be an epic tune-for-tune 90s recall segment. The announcement was made via Sumfest website, and the fan reaction has been overwhelmingly positive, as this represents the very first time that these two longtime rivals have ever been billed to showcase all the songs which made them popular.
Coming up, the top tour operators are in town and connecting you to Barbados. He's a master of art. Leroy Clark is all about aiming for the summit. Cruising the seas in different forms while competing to be the very best. It's all next on Caribbean Passport on this station.
Shea Hope and Captain Jason Holder both struck half-centuries, but West Indies were undermined by Mitchell Stark's 5-wicket haul and went down by 15 runs to Australia in their second match of the ICC World Cup on Thursday. Sent in at Trent Bridge, Australian tail-ender Nathan Coulter-Nile had earlier struck a career-best 92 and stroke-maker Steve Smith a 73 as Australia recovered from 38 for 4 in the 8th over to reach 288 all out of 49 overs. Carlos Brathwaite got wickets at the back end of the innings to end with 3 for 67, while fellow pacers Andre Russell, Sheldon Cottrell and O'Shane Thomas finished with 2 wickets each. Here are the highlights of the Australian innings.
that's brilliant. That is magnificent. Another one gone. Sheldon Cottrell, look for the salute. There it is.
Edge, and he's taken an absolute blinder, the keeper. Dre Russ, look at him. Oh, another one. This is Maxwell. This is his second ball. That'll be gone as well.
I was in the air for a while, but there's good timing on it. The outfield's the batsman's friend here. Oh, he finds the fielder at mid-wicket.
Well played, well played. That's controlled. Oh, absolutely smoked. So we're starting to see the best from Carey. Oh, it's hanging. Oh, he falls over. Oh.
Oh, yes. He has indeed. Just going across him on the angle.
Now the fielder, oh, just beats him to his right for 4. Oh, that was easier. That was easier, just on the pads, the pickup shot.
Add 6 to that. That is brilliant. That is outstanding from Sheldon Cottrell. Jason Holder again takes it.
In reply, West Indies crumbled to 273 for 9 of their 50 overs, with Hope top scoring with 68 and Holder getting 51. Left-hander Nicholas Pooran struck 40, while Chris Gale and Shimron Hetmeyer both got 21. But West Indies lost wickets at key moments, which hurt their run chase.
Edge and taken. He bowls a good length. And his bat's ready to meet that ball. That's the Chris Gale we know. That's worth a shout. What does he do here, Chris Gale? Yeah, stays raised on this occasion.
And again. Unfortunate. It was a good effort.
Fielder's way too square, but it doesn't matter. Oh, in the air. Oh, good catch.
Again, he gets it in front. It's 4. This is very, very exciting. And now 50. The West Indies number 3. Mix up. Oh, terrible mix up. Out of nothing. Talk about buy a wicket. Doesn't matter if it's a run out. They'll take it, the Aussies.
Oh, there's a fielder there. That is the very last thing the West Indies wanted.
Well, there's the first one. And away. It's more than away.
It's gone a long, long way.
He's going to be safe, but it's... Or is he? No, he's not. That's a brilliant take. Maxwell.
Just 1. And 50 for Jason Holder. He hasn't hit that well at all. Aaron Finch will take it. Aaron Finch does. Mitchell Starc, the wicket taker, in business again. 2 in the over. 150 wickets in ODIs for Mitchell Starc, the quickest to reach that figure. And the West Indies have crumbled Another 4. And Australia win by 15 runs here at Trent Bridge.
World Cup action continues on Friday with Pakistan taking on Sri Lanka at Bristol. While the West Indies women also tasted defeat despite a 4-wicket haul by off-spinner Hayley Matthews, losing to England women by 208 runs in the first match of the ICC Women's Championship at Leicester, England on Thursday. Sent in at Grace Road, the hosts posted a mammoth 318 with captain Heather Knight posting a run-a-ball 94, while opening batsman Amy Jones added 91. Tamsin Beaumont and Natalie Skivers chipped in with 32 runs each. Matthews picked up 4 wickets for 57 runs, while Shakira Selman and Afi Fletcher picked up 2 wickets. The Windies women suffered a batting meltdown in their reply after left-arm spinner Sophie Ecclestone and off-spinner Laura Marsh picked up 3 wickets each to send the regional ladies packing on 110 in 36 overs. Shadeen Nation was the only batsman to make a significant total. She scored 42 from 75 balls, while Matthews added 17 and Kycian Knight chipped in with 16 from 45 deliveries. And finally, Jamaica defeated United States 1-0 in their international friendly in Washington, D.C. on Thursday. TVJ's Andrea Chisholm reports. Well, that's the sport. We'll be right back.
I was late for today's shoot, and I have to be honest, it's because my good friends at Mazda dropped off one of these amazing new MX-5s. And wow, what a machine. It totally connects with my DNA. Sports car, top down, I mean, what a machine. I'll tell you, go drive one. It might make you late for a lot of things, too. So we're here back in Denver. We're here at my good friend Mike Boston's place, Elevation Motors, here in Lakewood. And I have to tell you, Mike and Andreas are great friends.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
So if you is a real one and a sight that I go make you know as I should. Now wait till you gone, Jesse Royal, the lion. Pase lo que pase, no te voy a llamar. Ya yo me quité, tú nunca me vas a amar.
Again, the major developments of this day, one of the men charged in an alleged corruption conspiracy in TNT involving a former Attorney General and a former opposition legislator pleads guilty and officially turns state witness. And in sport, West Indies go down to Australia by 15 runs in their second match of the ICC World Cup. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport round the clock, subscribe to CanadaNews.com, and for more of our programming, log on to CariVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.